that's not good.
They frowned when they found the bridge broken down and sought high and low for a new way around. But this was a dark, thick, and terrible bog, which they decided to cross on a slippery log. This swamp of discouragement had a terrible smell, and suddenly into the swamp they both fell. Mr. Turnback escaped with his life by a thread, while Pilgrim sunk deeper and thought for sure he was dead.
Is this the happiness you've told me about? Everything that you've told me, I now deeply doubt.
I truly do not know, but please help me, my friend.
No. For if such is our journey's start, then what will be the end? I'm heading right back in the other direction, back to my safe, comfy home in the city of destruction.
Help, God. Please help. Send someone to save. If I die with this burden, I'll sink lower than the grave.
Our pilgrim cried loudly and heartily prayed, till a man named Help came along to his aid.
Keep swimming, dear pilgrim, and stretch out your hand, so I can help you up to dry and safe land.
This bog is full of fear, doubts, dreads, and despair. It has swallowed up many that have fallen in there. Now stay on this path that is narrow and straight, until you come to the king's narrow gate.
After escaping the swamp of discouragement, Pilgrim went back to the path to which he'd been sent. Alone, Pilgrim walked with his spirits quite low, soaking wet from the top of his head to his toes, when a worldly man who was handsome and nice saw our Pilgrim so sad and gave him this advice.
Young lad, I pray you, good sir. Young lad. You're sad. I could see it in your eyes. But you're in luck, for I am worldly and wise. This burden, it's heavy, and you walk rather slow. I advise you remove it, and off you shall go.
Believe me, good sir, I've tried and I've strained to be rid of this burden, but it can't be unchained. To the narrow gates I'm going, though I'm not going fast. Through it will my burden be removed at long last.
Tell me, who told you you could be freed through that gate?
Evangelist, my friend, who is noble and great.
Ah, his counsel is foolish. Don't believe that old stranger. This straight path is full of both trouble and danger. Why, there's weariness, hunger, peril, and pain without rest. There's swords and lions, dragons, darkness and death.
Well, this burden is far worse than all of those things, for the weight of sin is heavy, and the guilt that it brings.
Well, if freedom and ease from sin's burden you seek, then sit still for a moment and do let me speak. Why, this old path is full of dummies and fools. But off this way is a place called the Village of Rules. Everyone there has perfect behavior. They speak kindly and always are nice to their neighbor. Why, Mr. Law, my old friend, he could help free you from this, I'm certain. no doubt in my mind, he'll get rid of that burden. Why, that burden will melt off like a small piece of ice, and you could stay there forever at a reasonable price.
Well, if this is all true, and it sure does sound nice, I would be very wise to follow your advice. Where does Mr. Law live? I'll go right away.
You are wise indeed, young chap. Now, do as I say. You see that, hill up there, just ahead? Well, he lives right at the top. Now go till you get there. Don't stop.
So Pilgrim left the path and headed up the hill. But near the top, he did stop and stood perfectly still. Now his burden seemed heavier than ever before. Lightning flashed round the hill, and he heard thunder roar. For the mountain was high, and large rocks above head could have easily fallen and crushed Pilgrim dead. Then he heard a loud voice, and it echoed from heaven. By the works of the law, you cannot be forgiven. But just before Pilgrim was crushed by the law, he looked back towards the straight path, and guess who he saw? It was Evangelist coming with a stern-looking face, and our Pilgrim stood blushing and felt full of disgrace.
You've turned from the right path. Why are you here? Were my directions to the narrow gate not simple and clear?
Well, I met a man as I walked on my way who told me your counsel to not obey. He told me the village of rules was up this way, where my burden would fall if I learned to obey.
To ignore God's gospel for the counsel of men is a dangerous, grievous, and terrible sin. Now all manner of sin God is just to forgive. So turn back, repent, so that you may yet live. This deceiver has turned you from the way that is right, to the law, which cannot make one good in God's sight. For this mountain called Sinai has crushed many men, for the law brings God's wrath, God's judgment for sin. That man was a liar, and his advice all wrong, for the law only brings death. Now let me teach you in song.
The law of God is holy and teaches us we can never stand before God in our rags and sin, unless we are made right with Him. Like a mirror shows a dirty face, the law shows us our need for grace. Revealing